Is anybody surprised at all? Anybody? The main mass shooter, Robert Card, had a Twitter account that has since been scrubbed. But the archive reveals he liked a lot of posts from far-right media figures and politicians, including Donald Trump Jr. and Tucker Carlson. And why not? They put their ingredients right on the box. We are all domestic terrorists. Remember that at CPAC? Still can't believe they did that. Why hide it when you can wear it and use it to embolden your followers? They aren't stupid. They're just not hiding the white Christian nationalist agenda they've always had. You're telling me this is actually not photoshopped? Yep. This is what these people do. That's the same reason they boo journalists. And look at this shit. They'll still go after Biden. Oh, shit. Man on the run after shooting and killing dozens of people should be considered armed and dangerous. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And this is why we have a mass murder problem in America. My grandchildren live in Lewiston, Maine. There is an active shooter, and police dispatch said 22 dead. I'm in communication with them, but it's tearing me apart. Yeah. And here's Rep. Mike Johnson going all out with the christo-fascism, the blame Biden bullshit. This is not a drill. The goals of these christo-fascists are to completely subjugate women, physically harm and marginalize LGBTQ communities, return to a Jim Crow South, remove all constitutional guardrails to our democracy. Look at these assholes. Lauren Boebert gave her usual thoughts and prayers shtick. She couldn't even get the name of the town right. And they go on, they revel in it. Either they know they're full of shit and they just love the idea that they're actually able to keep gaining power, even though they are a minority, or they just don't care. I know the majority of people in this country are sick and tired of all the right-wing bullshit, the gerrymandering, the voter suppression, the suppression of this group and that group, subjugation of this group and that group, the thoughts and prayers, the wearing of the AK pins, taking the payola from the NRA, everything going on around us in this country that is horrible. absolutely horrible. The murdering, the domestic terrorism, voter suppression, the ever shrinking amount of rights and freedoms we have. This is all due to a fucked up minority that doesn't care about what this country stands for. They don't care what the majority wants, what the people of this country say, what they want, what they need. They don't care about anything that is best for this country, that's best for its people. They care about themselves, their own power. They care about gaining power, expanding it any way they can. It doesn't matter what they have to do. They know they can't win fairly anymore at all. So they amp up their voter suppression tactics. If all else fails, they want their followers to start killing off political rivals. Domestic terrorists are useful tools to them. A large portion of their base have fit that description for decades anyway. And that's another thing. Do you think any of these politicians, any of these holier than thou, head up their ass, pious Christian leaders, these right-wing political pundits, do you think that Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro and Lauren Boebert and Three Toes Green, do you think any of these people are going to be the first ones out there to lead the charge? No. They don't have to do anything. They got these coveted, well-paid positions, paid for on your tax dime, mind you. They sit there and they sound the horn, and these fucking idiots are only so eager to run up and do their bidding. They give them a couple of little crumbs of hope that these just uneducated, delusional, just immature pieces of crap can achieve some fantasy lifestyle. If only they go out and they do the dirty work for them. They go out and they do this dirty work. These people, these pundits, these politicians, the new speaker, all these people that bow their heads and pray, they're such good Christians. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about anybody in this country. Surely it's fake, right? Unfortunately, it's not. Before Trump, they never had the balls to say anything like this out loud. After Trump, it's now their entire identity to be as shit of human beings as possible and feel proud of it. Actively wish harm or cause harm or death to others just so they can retain their power. An entire cult built up on lies that's now thrashing about like a wild animal because Republicans have lost control of the very monster they created. Now is the time to ask, how many of these would be a problem? 100 dead per year? 1,000? What if there was an organization killing people? Would Fox News and right-wing media be apologists for this sort of thing? Would they say the Dems deserve it? They already do. That teaching evolution is our problem, they already do. They're literally saying this shit every day. Go to Twitter, go to any social media. Every shooting that happens, every innocent that dies, there's not enough God. It's because of evolution. It's because there are gay people. It's because they didn't vote for Trump. It's because women have sex before marriage. It's because there's divorce. It's because there's alimony. It's because there's biracial children. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. You know, if that were the case, if it were really caused by shit in school and shit they see on the street, wouldn't it be your religious Christo-fascist bullshit that causes this? There is definitely no shortage of churches. There is definitely no shortage of abuse of all kinds from religious leaders. There is definitely no shortage of religion right in your government public offices. Look at this shit. This is what these people believe. It's everywhere. And they are the minority. This amount of people bowing their heads in prayer should never be in any public office. Ever. Ever. This is what happens when there's a real takeover. And of course, they'll know you everything that is a reality in our country and in our world. Because what else do they have? This is the reason there's a problem. This is the picture definition of a takeover in this country. It isn't atheists. It isn't evolution in schools. It isn't Satanists. It isn't video games. It isn't violent movies. It isn't rap music. It's this shit right here. This is your takeover. So, of course, what do they have to say when it's brought up? They boo. They boo at their journalists. You call it for what it is, a takeover by a religious freak minority in our public offices. And so, of course, they have to go on social media and say it's a takeover. You are corrupt. No, you're corrupt. You people need to be held responsible for the insurrection you incited. Democrats incited an insurrection. It's everything. It doesn't matter what you say. They're never going to stop and think and learn. It's just a knee-jerk reaction now. No, you. You bring up an insurrection, two Democrats stand outside the Capitol, it's an insurrection now. 1 billion priests and pastors are found to have organized a child sex ring. Democrats are pedophiles. That's what they're going to say. Bobo was caught jacking off some guy in a theater, in front of children and whatnot. She's going to come on social media and say Biden's a pedophile. It's just what they do. I mean, is there anybody out there that legit has not experienced something like this from somebody in real life? And we're not talking people that are in public office. Have you ever met people that are just such pieces of shit? It defies description. Like, these people need a mental health evaluation. They need to be separated from society. They just aren't with it anymore. There is no sense of reality in their minds. That's what we're witnessing on a national scale. It truly is. You know what? People will make jokes and say it's a clown show. No, it isn't. It isn't a clown show anymore. This is fucking serious. This is dangerous. We're seeing what it does. We're watching it in real time. Half of these people shouldn't even be in office. They wouldn't get their positions if it weren't for gerrymandering. And people just let them do it. They don't belong in their positions. They have to cheat to get elected. That's all they know how to do. It's what their entire identity is based on. Cheating and lying and bullshitting. Worse than we've ever seen in the history of this nation. And this is why everything's falling apart. This is why the shootings keep going on. This is why nobody's going to do anything about them. This is why our education system is horrible. This is why you have Nazis marching around outside of Disneyland. This is why LGBTQ people are not safe. This is why women are still not safe. This bullshit right here. Oh, the poor little kitty. What a surprise. The mass shooter's favorite accounts were Elon Musk, Cat Turd, Don Jr., Tucker Carlson, and Dinesh D'Souza. But Mike Johnson says we just need to pray more. This is what I'm talking about. Nothing is getting done because they don't care about getting things done. It's time to stop accepting the shit that they say. It's time to stop listening. I don't want to hear anything about religion. I don't want to hear anything about God in schools. I don't want to hear anything about guns being good. I don't want to hear anything about gay people being to blame. I don't want to hear anything that comes out of a right-winger or a conservative's mouth. I don't want to hear it. The proof is there. It's all around you. We're living it every day. This is what their way gets us. And then anything that goes wrong, they'll turn around and they'll say it's because we don't have our way. If we did have our way, things would be different. No, this is because of your way. If the people had their way, which is how it's supposed to be, none of you would be in office. None of you. We are the majority. You are in a very small minority. This is why. You take advantage of this entire country so you can exploit it. And you are fucking destroying it. And they don't care. So long as they keep those positions. They don't care. So long as they keep getting their pay. They don't care. So long as there's more of them. Doesn't matter how they cheated or lied to get to where they are. Once they get into that cushy position, that's it. They don't care about you. They don't care about this country. They don't care about the Constitution. They're trying to argue against your rights and your voice by using the republic excuse, like it means anything. Well, we're not really a democracy. That's the new thing they're saying now. It's not a democracy anyway. We're not a democracy. What you say doesn't matter. We're a republic. You know, it's in our name, Republican. We're actually a republic. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? What exactly is it you're trying to tell people when you say that? We're actually a republic. What is it you are trying to tell people? That they don't have to listen? That you don't care what they have to say? That you can make it any way you want and the people have no say in it? You don't care about the Constitution? You don't care about democracy? That you don't want them to vote? That you're not going to make excuses anymore for your scheming, lying shit? Is that what you're trying to say? What exactly is it you mean when you try telling people it's not a democracy? Sounds to me like what you're trying to say is you don't care about what the people want. It's about what you want. And by the way, a republic means the people tell you what to do. You do understand that, right? We are a constitutional republic. Our constitutional republic is a democracy. It doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter how many times you try to say it's really a republic, like it makes a difference. It means the people tell you what to do. It means the people have a voice. It means the people have a vote. You need to win the votes of the people to be in power. That shit doesn't change. It doesn't matter what word you try to use. But they're going to say it. They don't understand what it means, but they're going to still say it. And they say it because they want a way to justify grabbing for power however they can grab it, doing what they want, even though they know it flies directly in the face of what this country was founded upon, what this country is supposed to do for you, how much power the public is supposed to have over their government appointments, the people that they vote as representatives. They don't care about all of that. So now they're going to sink lower and even lower and ever lower still to try to ignore that or to justify doing what they know they shouldn't be doing. And that's if they know. Half of these people, like I said, they don't belong in their positions to begin with. And they don't know anything about what it takes to be a good leader. Because it doesn't matter to them. Yep. And here we go again. GOP Speaker Mike Johnson. Mass shootings are the result of the cultural revolution of the 60s. The rise of mass shootings is the fault of no-fault divorces becoming legal and schools embracing the teaching of evolution. You miserable piece of shit. The Scopes monkey trial is over. That wasn't in the fucking 60s. The Scopes monkey trial was a lot farther away than that. No fault divorce. Cultural revolution of the 60s. You know, we didn't have mass shootings back in the 60s either. We didn't have these types of shootings in the 70s or in the 80s or even in the 90s. I was a teen in the 90s. The first really tragic mass school shooting that everybody remembers in this country in particular was Columbine. That was in 99, I believe. And it has only gotten worse ever since then. Since the Trump years, and everybody sees it, we've been having hundreds of mass shootings a year. Hundreds. It isn't about fucking evolution. They've been teaching evolution in schools for a very long time. It didn't start in the 60s. It didn't start when people got divorces. It didn't start when women were able to get MasterCards. This is what I'm talking about. This is what these people's concerns are. God. God and guns and white people and churches. That's all they give a fuck about. Meanwhile, the whole goddamn country is burning and collapsing all around them. It doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them what happens. It doesn't matter how much pain and suffering and problems that they cause. It's never going to matter because, you just need God. God is the excuse for everything. I can't stand these damn non-whites ruining our country. They don't deserve to live. I've had enough of this political correctness bullshit. Time to take matters into my own hands. That's your main shooter, Robert Card. Dude lived in the whitest state in the United States. What the fuck was he on about? Apparently, Lewiston was a hub for Somali people. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? And all these people, all of these right-wing pundits, all of your christo-fascist right-wing politicians, all of these people are going, oh my God, this is so awesome. This is so awesome. This shit keeps happening. This is just great. They're never going to do anything. But they're jizzing in their pants over idiots like this going out and doing their dirty work for them. I don't want to hear fuck about Somali immigrants. Everyone he killed is white. 40-year-old firearms instructor and Army reservist. Guy had mental issues for a while and was institutionalized for hearing voices. But don't take away his guns. Mentally deranged individual shot up an elementary school over 10 years ago, killing over 20 kids and teachers. Nothing changed then, so why would anything change now? We live in a gun-diseased country. Yeah, because, it isn't about the guns. It isn't about failure to provide mental health care. That's not the problem. The problem is Charles Darwin wrote a book. The problem is gay people exist. The problem is brown immigrants come to seek asylum in our country. That's what causes all of this. The problem is women want abortions. The problem is women want control over their fucking snatches. So that's why we have men like these that just shoot up children. Damn women walking around with their vaginas. Quite clear that guns have far more rights than women and children. If you don't want to live in a country where this doesn't happen all the time, the only choice is you have to move to a better country. And all of these assholes will actually sit there. They'll think nothing of any of these shootings, but they will call a woman a murderer for taking a morning after pill. That's why never, ever, ever let any Christian or religious freak or anyone that invokes religion as part of their life, never, ever let anybody like that try to shame you or tell you you're wrong or try to argue with you about what you know is right. These people absolutely believe that they are in the right, and they believe they're in the right because they believe, not because they do anything right. In the real world, you have to understand you're doing right because of how it affects the people around you, how it makes the world better, how it makes people better, how it makes life better. These religious freaks, they don't care about making the world better. They think that's just magic that happens. If they believe and they force everybody else to believe, and we're all just droids, then the magic will happen and magically the world will be perfect. And it doesn't work that way. Wait there, buddy. Don't you have respect for the victims? Now is not the time to talk about gun control. Yes, the exact time you should be speaking about the problem, frankly, they can't have you talking about it. That's what that's all about. Never let any of these people try to shame you or tell you not to speak up. This is what success looks like for the GOP and the gun nuts. I'm sure they're very pleased with themselves. No, it's really fucked. Institutionalized over the summer for hearing voices tell him to shoot up his military base. Not to quote Jim Jeffries directly, but to people saying you can't change the Constitution, yes, you can. It's called an amendment. That's exactly what you do with the Constitution over time. That's what amendments are for. Hell, even the NRA has a constitution that they amend. Bill Maher brought this up on one of his comedy shows years ago. Oh, the NRA has just amended their constitution. Oh, so constitutions can change. I don't want a blue wave. I want a blue fucking tsunami. Fortunately, Maine GOP Senator Susan Collins voted against background checks. So this man was able to buy an assault rifle and exercise his constitutional right to shoot 47 fucking people. Blue checks right on cue. Oh, where's that Nashville manifesto? Right. I'm going to take a wild guess mainstream media will be all over this tomorrow. Call me crazy. Yeah, you are fucking crazy. Why wouldn't it be all over the media? Just when you think they couldn't sink any lower, they continue to sink lower. Now nobody is supposed to talk about it on the news. Nobody is supposed to bring up another shooting, more victims, more right-wing terrorism. Yes, the media is going to cover a horrific mass shooting. Do these motherfuckers hear themselves? Oh, so now the news wants to cover a mass shooting. What's next? The weather? This is what happens when no one checks people on their bullshit. They say stupid shit. Weather is too political. Maybe they'll just have a camera trained on Trump's face 24 hours a day to keep these idiots satisfied. Well, there was that one hurricane which refused to attack Alabama just to embarrass Trump. Mainstream media at it again, shoving news all up in people's faces. Whenever somebody uses the phrase false flag in a scenario like this, I automatically begin thinking that they are the false flag, maybe sent to detract from more murder in America. These are the false flags, messages deliberately attempting to sow doubt in the fact people are being gunned down in public. What did I just fucking say? And honestly, you don't have to pay these people to do it. These people aren't getting paid. You don't need to pay them. You don't need to convince them. You don't need to ask them. They'll come right out and they'll do the dirty work for free. They'll do the dirty work for free. They'll sink lower for the people that want them to sink lower. They'll do anything the right wants them to do. And you know what? It is sad. It's sad that people will bitch and cry and complain about the fact that people want to discuss when shit like this happens. You see, that's that fascism thing coming into play again. Now we're not allowed to talk about it. Because, you know, inevitably it's going to go back to how the right completely lets us all down time and time again. No, professional trolls do not have work to do. We're imploding our society pretty damn handily on our own. Problem is, they'll convince Americans because we've cut so much funding for education, nobody has critical thinking skills. Well, you don't. Then Republicans will claim those who want to be educated are just uppity, while all of themselves have law degrees from the Ivy League universities. Yeah, those degrees from Ivy League universities are because of this, not because of that. I can tell you that much right now. No wonder these fucking Ivy League educated pieces of shit on the right hate educated people. You ever wonder why that is? They all go to Harvard or Princeton and they hate the educated. They hate educated people. These people are on legacy admissions, and they were born with a silver spoon up their ass. They could go anywhere they wanted to. They did it for convenience. They did it for the reach. Look at fucking W. Bush. He graduated with a gentleman's C. That's a nice way of saying he's a fucking idiot. But they had to pass him because, after all, Daddy's an important guy. A lot of money went into that institution. So at least they've got to put him through as a courtesy. See how it works? Stochastic terrorism, tactic used to cause the J6 insurrection, and they lie to incite violence. What would the end goal be of destroying society? Just to degrade the structure and systems enough that they can easily be taken over. This is what the Republicans have been trying to do for the last 40 years. Most of them are clinically insane, and the ideology is an excuse for anarcho-capitalists to cause a bunch of problems and profit off the results of those problems, such as starting an opioid epidemic, where they make money off of pill sale hikes, but also hospitalizations and privatized prisons. All of those people are profiting from their actions, and then investors profit from stocks. It's sadistic cerebral narcissism. They get the useful psychopaths to be idiots, and the whole thing is how Bitcoin mining works. The equation gets solved and then prints a coin. Their recipe for disaster is completed. Then the way to fix the problem produces profits from sales of services and products from only their industries. Hilarious to me, they devolve into claims of false flag every time. I could understand people thinking things are a false flag once or twice, or if the facts of the situation suggest something fishy. But this is the scenario every time. Disgruntled white guy with an AR-15. If you claim something is a false flag every time, you have a depressingly low IQ. Yeah, I don't know. It's like when people talk about how, like, it's a feasible idea that we all exist because we're just living in a simulation. Everything we know isn't actually real. It's just a simulation. Yeah. Nobody was talking about the idea of all of existence being a simulation until the fucking Matrix came out. Nobody was talking about this shit before Neo and Lawrence Fishburne, or whoever the fuck it was, started dodging bullets on the screen. Now you hear about it all the time. Every fucking unknown mystery of the unexplained YouTube video, they've got to mention the theory that we're in a simulation. This theory that's only like 20 fucking years old. And this false flag bullshit. Nobody was talking about that ever in this country until 9/11. Then somebody came up with the whole false flag idea. Then you had the 9/11 truthers. And now every fucking thing that happens in this country, there's a group of idiots that have to bring up false flag. You know, like they're kindergartners who are all happy that they learned a new word in school. So now they're looking for any excuse to use that word in conversation. and show off to their parents and grandparents that they've learned it and they're so happy about it. That's what this sounds like. The way I read is that they would do something like this in that position. They would absolutely pay someone to commit a mass murder as a distraction for insert minor political drama here. You don't have to pay anybody. This is probably why all of your right-wing politicians are so fucking happy. You don't have to pay anybody. People are that fucking stupid. They will believe anything. They will gladly go out and do all your dirty work for you. I would put money on it. Not a single one of these people that have done any of these shootings or were part of the J6 insurrection or anybody right now that's thinking of going out and committing a shooting had to be paid a dime. What's even dumber is, at this point, mass shootings are so common, and we've done almost nothing for over a decade. Why would anybody expect a false flag to change anything now? I just assume everybody that knows them hates communicating with them, and maybe they're effectively organic bots. Without a doubt, Musk is using Twitter to delegitimize news and events, and having tons of blue checks claiming so just muddies the waters. Granted, the site has lost a lot of credibility, but it still has a large user base. Oh, so the national news will be all over a mass shooting in Maine's second largest city, where the shooter is still on the loose. You've cracked the case. Good work, Gumshoe. Realistically, if you predict a mass shooting will happen on any given day in the United States, you'd be correct. We've had more mass shootings than there are days in a year by mid-July. Anyone could have predicted this. It makes me sick that you're right. And Jesus Christ has been notably unhelpful in resolving this problem. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Ugh. Yet another Christian pedophile. Someday, I like this girl, Bex. She's on Twitter. It's BEKS, Bex. Her channel, or her Twitter is pretty much exclusively posts like this. She keeps track of religious and right-wing pedophiles, people that have been arrested, charged, or doing prison time for pedophilia. North Carolina Christian School finance officer Tammy Tyner has been sentenced to only probation for raping two exchange students she hosted in her home. Bex does this. I think that Bex has been doing this ever since people started stating that, the right had bastardized the word groomer, which pulls the term away from something useful at stopping sexual assault of children and instead tried to repurpose it as a slang term and a derogatory term against people who are gay. And so what Bex does is she finds all of the, not a drag queen, not an LGBTQ person who is arrested, tried, or convicted for pedophilia. And I want to go over her Twitter because she has hundreds, thousands, all of them, the majority of them, Christian church leaders or youth pastors. It's insane. You only have to die in war if you don't have a parent in power. Prime Minister Netanyahu's son Yair is exempt from his father's military draft and will continue to vacation in Miami Beach. See, this just proves it. Islam. This is what these people do with their spare time. Yeah, this guy, his wife was on her knees for 2 weeks. She spent the last couple of weeks on her knees in prayer to the Lord, and she's a little worn out. You know, I wouldn't doubt that this is probably his haha, I'm so freaking sneaky and cool like that way of stating that she's been blowing people for 2 weeks so he could get his position. And I actually would believe that because Christians are, along with believing their shit don't stink, they are the most corrupt, lying, scheming, sinning people in existence. Yeah, we all know what he means by that. He quietly sat in the corner wearing a bra, panties, and fishnets. Occasionally, he brushed the cheap blonde wig out of his eyes to keep the view unobstructed. With tears in his eyes, he whispers, "Please don't come inside her. The scripture forbids contraception." As he rubs the running eyeliner from his face, he looks down at his caged dicklet and begins to flick it with his middle finger. The pathetic little tater tot begins to leak. I thought I was reading Penthouse Forum for a second. Pathetic little tater tot. I'm fucking crying, man. That was actually hot to read, not gonna lie. Whoa. Okay. Anyone reading this who thinks that it's kink shaming has zero clue how much these cucks actually would love this paragraph and would love for it to happen in real life. Don't forget his butt plug. It was a new size this session, so he's a bit past his comfort zone. That is a masterclass in writing. Brilliant. I read this right before lunch. Thanks for the laugh. Plot twist, the Lord is power and she's been buying votes by blowing Republicans. Well, of course. But you know, you and I should have no social security or contraception. Plot twist, I'll bet he's the one that's been on his knees. You mean like his promotion of white replacement theory, wanting to criminalize sex outside of marriage, with extra criminalizing for the gays, his declaration that America is a biblical republic, and his support for the insurrection? Or the rest? It hasn't even been 24 hours yet, so I'm sure there's more. There is no bottom. Yes, there is. It's him. He's the bottom. Yeah, too ugly to be the top, too weak to be a good bottom. He wants to outlaw basically anything but sex between a man and a wife, which is so out of touch it ain't even funny. Yeah, I wish conservatives would stop making their control kinks everyone's problem. Yeah, that's what's sad about it and really, really sick about it. They don't just want like biblical views being incorporated into everybody's life. They want the pure ignorance and repression incorporated into everybody's life. They're like they're like the suit and tie tax funded versions of like incels. They don't know or they can't have, so they want everybody else to not know or can't have. And that's really, really sad. If sex before marriage were criminalized, there would be practically no children born in this country because the majority of this country can't afford a marriage. So that's how Santos got that kid. There's a lot more. He's actually a scary little fuck. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, wants to get rid of Medicare. Liberals don't have white babies to become workers, is why there's inflation. Dinosaurs never existed. The earth is only 6,000 years old, and women can abort babies after they're born. Creationist, Christian nationalist. He once funded a Noah's Ark park. So, what are all those bones we keep finding? Don't you know they were just put there by God to test our faith? There's no such thing as real dinosaur bones. Don't you know? Oh, God. Damn. They say Satan buried the bones to fool us into becoming non believers. The greatest lie Satan ever perpetrated was convincing the world that he doesn't exist. Oh, I know real evil exists in the world, and they are the GOP, Republicans, the Christian right, Ken Ham, Kirk Cameron. All these motherfuckers standing right here. That's evil. And you know what? It actually goes with what they were saying. They say all the time, people don't realize what evil is out there. It comes when you least expect it. That's what Satan's goal is making you unaware that it's all around you, making you believe it doesn't really exist, but it does exist. Well, you're absolutely right. It does exist where you would least expect it, and you're fucking it. Everything you've warned us about, that's you. It's all of you. I can smell you through my screen. It gives me douche chills just looking at this picture. What I'm looking at is fucking evil. That's what we can take away from this. Okay, I'm getting dizzy. I'm going to take off. Mwah.